So today's crash course is titled How to Earn Rewards with Your Dappnode Without Any Investing. And that tends to be some of the myths around Dappnode. So a lot of people think that you have to be necessarily investing, and see it this way. There are a lot of resources that your Dappnode is using, not only running clients and keeping in sync. There's a lot of stuff that your Dappnode already handles, and it's really just sitting there. Your storage is one, your bandwidth is another one. So we're going to talk about different opportunities that we have with existing packages in Dappnode today. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to just unmute yourself, or if you want to type it in the chat, that's also okay. Let's start by defining what is Dappnode. Dappnode is free open source software that makes it super easy to run your own nodes in a much user-friendly and non-technical way. So it is an operating system that facilitates running blockchain clients. And the idea with Dappnode is to help advance and push decentralization. So Dappnode pretty much aligns with any project that is seeking to add decentralization as one of its main attractives. What are some of the challenges of running Dappnode? Well, it comes with a responsibility, of course. If you're going to have a machine performing some work, you want to make sure that that machine has everything it needs, from electricity to internet. You want to make sure that also it's not running in a very hot place or somewhere where it can get wet or have some rain. Running a node comes with basic responsibilities that most of them seem to be like common sense at first, but once you jump into the Dappnode journey, you may realize that there are additional responsibilities. Running a node has some challenges, yes, but at the same time, it has this economic barrier where a lot of people cannot participate in proof of stake because they don't have money or resources to staking. A lot of people don't have 32 ETH or 1 GNO. There are many ways in which once you get your Dappnode up and running, you can start generating income, something that can give you a grasp of how these responsibilities run without risking serious funds. A lot of people love this approach about supporting public infrastructure. I personally really like that blockchains, anyone can contribute to keeping them online. So in a nutshell, this is Dappnode. And if you want to know more about the process of installing Dappnode, you can check out our other crash courses, and you can go through the steps of configuring Dappnode. So for today, we're going to start with an already configured Dappnode. The one that you see here is a test that I set up on a VPS. So is what we're going to be using today. Going back to supporting networks. So a lot of people like the idea of supporting the Bitcoin blockchain, but most people think that the only way to support the Bitcoin blockchain is by destinating huge amounts of electricity. And this is not entirely true. There are many, many ways in which you can support the Bitcoin network. And one of the most popular is setting up a node. So let's go to the Tap Store and quickly set up a Bitcoin node for Dappnode. So we're going to click it, and we're going to click install. And that's it. So next, we're going to go to the logs and just make sure that the Bitcoin node is starting to sync and just running regularly. So, okay, it looks like it's on its way. So this right here could be a good way to explain how to support the Bitcoin network in a very easy way. So there's also this myth around Ethereum nodes. A lot of people think that you need 32 ETH to start an Ethereum node. And the case is pretty much the same as the Bitcoin node that we just installed. In order to set up a node, this is something that anybody can do. We're going to go to the stakers menu, and under the Ethereum tab, we are going to click on, let's say, Geth and Prism. And Since we are not going to be running a validator, we can just keep selecting Web3 Signer and MEV Boost. And, oh, it's asking for a fee recipient. So it's going to set the new staker configuration. And once it installs the packages, it's already supporting the Ethereum network by providing another copy that can help verify transactions for anybody that uses the Ethereum network. So this way you have access to something much more private. Sometimes Bitcoin wallet providers or Ethereum wallet providers provide their own RPC endpoints for accessing their nodes. Like, after all, if you want to interact with the blockchain, you're going to need a copy of it. So instead of, like using a public node, this way you can have your own door to any blockchain that you use. Why is this important? Because if an RPC provider is sharing their node like on a more public network, this RPC provider can also choose which information from their users to retain. This is something that we don't really like in crypto in general. Well, a great starting point to be able to fix this can be running your own node. Okay, I think it's already syncing, and once this Geth client syncs, it's going to be usable so that you can connect to the Ethereum network. So this Bitcoin node is syncing pretty fast. I'm going to pause it so that we don't run out of space for the rest of this crash course. So in this first approach, we can find that supporting a network is one of the things that may be attractive to different Dappnode users. So if you go to the Dapp store, there are a number of networks that you can help support just by installing the package and syncing the blockchains. Let's talk about how to start earning rewards that have no investment, no initial investment. So let's talk about Mysterium. So let me go to the Dapp store, look for Mysterium. And okay, so what is Mysterium? Mysterium it's a way to rent out your available bandwidth. And how this works is that you can install Mysterium's VPN application. And once you install this, you can make your bandwidth available for anybody that can access your Dappnode as a VPN. So let's start by installing this package. And after the package is running, we can visit the UI. Okay, so we're going to start node setup. We're going to set a temporary password. And here you'll have to go and visit mistnodes.com. And you're going to need to start a new node. So here you'll see that you can basically use this API key to claim a new node. So once you get that API key, you can set it here. And to register your node on the blockchain, you can either transfer required amount of MIST or pay $1 USD. So we're going to need 0.33 MIST tokens, which is not that bad. So it's 14 cents. So it's like 3 cents or 4 or something like that. So yeah, this is pretty much everything that you are going to need. This token is in the Polygon blockchain, so this is where you're going to be getting it. And after it's done, you can go ahead and install your Mysterium package and make the initial deposit to start off your node. The amount of income may vary. I think it's around like $6 to $8 per month, something like that. Not something very significant maybe, but something that will for sure get you started if you are new to Dappnode And if you want to have this experience of having some passive income. And very important, please keep in mind that what Mysterium is doing is renting out your bandwidth. So if your ISP has some bandwidth limitation, please keep this in mind, just so that you can make responsible choices that adapt to your circumstances and not get affected. Also, in some geographic locations, I know that there are some more uh, difficulties to having a stable node. So just make sure that you go through the documentation and whatever you need to know, especially if there's a limitation from your internet service provider. This is very important because we don't want you having this kind of problem with your ISP. So that would be the only advice that I would give you on Mysterium. Once you're in the clear, you can definitely run Mysterium, especially if you have very good bandwidth available. That's something that may provide for a more stable VPN, and you'll get a better rating, and this way you can attract more people interested in renting out your Mysterium access point. So as I said, one of the benefits of having this approach to your Dappnode is that your Dappnode is already not using some of the resources it has. Bandwidth is one of them in the case of Mysterium, and we're gonna see the case of storage with Storj. So let's look for the Storj package. Here we go. So this one is a little bit more tricky. Why? Because you'll need to go to the Storj website. And you'll need to generate an authentication. And it's going to give us a token. So we're going to copy this, paste it in the package. We don't want to restore a backup because this is going to be a new node. So we're going to also add an address here. And how much storage space? Let's try 0.5. Okay, we're going to submit this and it's going to start downloading. So this is going to take a little bit more of time. Why? Because Storj will generate a key based on a difficulty, and it's going to be using your CPU for this. So it's going to take around like 2 to 3 hours. And actually, you can go to the logs and follow up on the process of generating this key. So let's give it a few seconds. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's not snapping it for some reason, but you see how it's generating based on difficulty. So difficulty right now, it's on 29. And I think it needs to reach 36, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, minimum difficulty of 36. So it's going to take 2 to 3 hours, maybe a little bit less. It depends on your hardware. And once it generates the key, it'll get your node up and running. So yeah, this is a good way in which you can start renting out your available storage and make it available for a decentralized cloud. And I'm not really sure about like an average income for Storj because I've been using it myself for probably like a couple of weeks while I've been testing it. So I still, like haven't run it for a full month. But even if you got just like a few cents, it's start earning something with something that you already have. So I think it's also a great way to explore different possibilities with your Dappnode and being able to participate in these decentralized networks. Okay. So our next topic is going to be how to actually start validating, but with very few money. Let's define by few money like $100 or less. So here we can talk about our available options both in Gnosis chain. I think the GNO token right now is around like $100. I think a little bit less. So it is very, very easy to get some GNO in Gnosis chain and deposit it just using a very, very few XDAI as gas. And once you start this deposit, you can get your validator started and start earning rewards with staking for Gnosis chain. Compatible with EVM, it's pretty much the same process as validating in Ethereum, but it won't cost you $60,000. It'll cost you around 100. So this is with the Gnosis chain. And also something that I've been enjoying lately is Hopper. Hopper is a mixnet that uses nodes to mix different traffic from people that want to use this for privacy reasons. So for starting up a Hopper node, Dappnode users need 1,000 Hopper tokens. And if you're running it on something else, it takes 2,000. With this, which is around $40 for Dappnode users and like $80 for non-Dappnode users, you can also start earning some rewards by setting up a node that will take care of mixing internet traffic for different users that use Hopper. So this is another great way. And setting it up is a little bit tricky. You actually need to sign up for having a special NFT and being able to run a validator. But I highly recommend the Hopper documentation for this. It's basically a mixnet that will give you rewards for participating as a node. And it takes 1,000 Hopper tokens for Dappnode users and 2,000 Hopper tokens for non-Dappnode users. So yeah, would be a good idea to get also involved with the Hopper community, which is awesome. And they are always helping out each other with support, okay? So we're reaching the end of this Dappnode Crash Course. And as some of the conclusions, I would like to go over some of the node runner responsibilities again. What you see in my screen, the Dappnode dashboard, takes some effort to run. In this case, this is on a VPS. So the cool thing is that you can pay someone else to take care of the responsibility of running the hardware. But at the same time, it's not optimal if you're very into supporting decentralization. So if you are running it in your own hardware, you want to be having some responsibility with this hardware. Make sure its temperature doesn't go very high, that it's not exposed to humidity or anything that could damage it. Sometimes software behaves weirdly and maybe a package will crash. So this will need of your attention. And if you're not physically close to the Dappnode, it would be a good idea to set up VPN so that you can have remote access and just take care of it from wherever you are. I'm sorry, I'm seeing a question here. Recommend running SSV testnet operator to try to be a validated operator later. Okay, this is actually also a really good question. If you start your Dappnode journey and you go through these packages and you start earning rewards, like if you really start getting the grasp of what it means to run your own nodes with Dappnode, and before you jump into validating in chains like Gnosis or Luxo, if this is something that you want to do, but you want to have a test run before that, I would highly recommend you to check out Girly Prater, which is the Girly testnet for Ethereum. With this testnet, if you get 32 ETH from the ETH staker community, you can start validating without having real funds. And also on top of Girly, there's some really interesting stuff going on. There are packages like SSV, like Obol, that will help you set up a DVT with other Girly validators. This is something that we're actually doing right now in ETHKipu. In ETHKipu, we're doing a collaboration with Dappnode that consists of running a Girly validator, but from 5 different nodes across Latin America. So one is in Mexico, another one is in Argentina, Bolivia, Costa Rica, and Dominican Republic. So exploring opportunities like SSV and Obol can also give you an idea of how to get the most out of these new technologies around distributed validators, while also playing with them and getting familiar in the Girly testnet, where it's just like much more safer than juggling with 32 real ETH. if you want to check out the girly testnet for preparation before you jump into validating, this is something that you can do. Basically, this was the crash course on how to earn rewards in your Dappnode without any investing. So even if you are already staking and are looking for an extra income, you can run these packages, test them, see how they run. If you want to keep them, it's up to you. So, yep, thanks for being here today. Are there any questions? I see that someone is typing in the chat. Oh, the package. Okay, so let's go to the Dappnode Explorer again. You can actually see here any package that has been published lately. You can see that DNP is the official Dappnode repository, and then there's the public repository, which anybody can upload packages to. So let's look for OBOL here. Here we go. So we are going to take this IPFS hash, copy it, take it to the Dapp store. And here we go. We'll just bypass the only sign restriction. We're going to leave this empty because we have not done a distributed key generation ceremony yet. Yeah, this is something that you can use for running DVT on OBOL with Dappnode. So if you know any other people running Dappnode, this is something that you can easily do. If you don't have any more questions, maybe we can leave it here. Thanks for joining another Dappnode Crash Course. As you can see, it is very, very helpful for approaching Dappnode for the first time. There are a lot of things that you could do that don't necessarily imply that you risk your funds. So crash courses are great for also joining and asking live questions, or even if it has happened in the past that while doing the crash course, we go through some troubleshooting with Dappnode and we solve it live. So users get a chance of seeing how to solve basic and common issues with Dappnode. So make sure that you check out the other crash courses that we've had in the past. And thanks for being here. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to tag me in the support channel